subsequent tones should be referenced to this signal.
Welcome, Bubba Army, to your pontification station. What a mark I am. I just go off your conversation station. Your pontification station. That's what it's all about. And it's all about Bubba the Love Sponge. Who's been watching those sizzle reels? Have you been watching those sizzle reels like I've been watching those sizzle reels? How awesome have those sizzle reels been? It just shows you why Bubba is the man. I mean, Bubba and Manson are the shiznit. Are they or are they not? I mean, you want to talk about... We could talk about sizzle reel number 1 and how wonderful that was. And that's really what I want to talk about. But sizzle reel number 2, where Bubba puts on the suit and chokes himself to death with his, trying to get his button done. I mean, that's simply fantastic. It's simply brilliant. It's simply Bubba. And so is pontification number 1, about sizzle reel number 1. And, you know, the thing I love about sizzle reel number 1 is them talking about JHT. Yeah, you know me. Johnny Hand Transplant. A guy who had his hand replaced by another dude's hand. Completely true story. This guy was a Hollywood executive. I don't know who's, researched Johnny Hand Transplant at all, but I have. And, I mean, Johnny Hand Transplant is a guy named Jonathan, okay? And he's a Hollywood executive. And he's a young guy. I would say he was in his early 40s. I probably could have found it somewhere here in the story, and I probably could have did better with, getting some facts and details about this story. I don't think I need to give you a ton of details or facts, because maybe you guys could go and research this guy yourself and see how awesome he sounds like he is. What kind of guy gets his hand cut off, one of his hands cut off, half of his fingers on his other hand cut off, because he came up with some mysterious, weird disease that literally blackened his hands and skin to the point where his hands and feet are like dead. I mean, incredible. And this guy comes back from this. He goes and gets another hand, and it ends up working out. The other hand seems like it's working for the guy. That doesn't happen too often. I think he had one of his legs removed, or one of it, half of his leg removed, and the guy has like a bionic leg, which is incredible also, because I guess he was up walking on it like within minutes of getting the damn thing, which nobody does, and the doctors are like completely surprised about this guy. But I went and I searched hand transplant, and like Bubba said, I think I searched hand transplant, Vanity Fair, because that's what Bubba mentioned. But I literally read this one that I got from, it says it's Los Angeles Magazine. And I literally read this story out loud to my wife and got teary-eyed and cried, because it was so, I don't know, it was just crazy sounding. And by the way, this is what we're here for. But it was just crazy sounding that, I mean, I hurt myself. If anybody's been paying attention to any of these blogs, I actually I fractured my kneecap, and I had to go have surgery. And I've been down and out, and feeling bad for myself and everything else. And it's just like I couldn't imagine losing a hand, losing half my other hand, losing a foot, and still being positive about this, and this guy being gung-ho about exercising and getting up in the morning. I mean, the guy's got millions and millions of dollars. Like Bubba said, he sold his company for $200 million or something crazy. So I don't know if being a millionaire is, I don't know. I mean, you know, we hear everything, you know, about people having money and that money doesn't mean anything. But, I mean, this guy here, Hollywood, this is what the first thing says, Hollywood exec and the hand transplant that changed his life. This guy is appreciative that he's still alive. He appreciates still living. So I think people out there should go and read this story, because I think it might bring you to tears like it brought me to tears. I read it out loud. It took me forever. It was a long story. I don't know how long it took me to read this. I'm not going to read it all. But in just 30 hours, a super fit reality TV producer went from the top of his game to almost death. What happened next would teach him everything about grace, resolve, and the power of love. He's got a good wife. He's got a kid. His wife's name is Jennifer. He's a young guy. And I know Bubba and Manson wanted to reach out to him to see if, you know, this guy would be interested in doing anything with them. And I guess the boys said they didn't hear back from him. So I was a little disappointed in that, because in the last couple weeks I was thinking, I read this a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't just but a couple days ago that Bubba said that he hasn't heard back from him, and I think they were both a little shocked. And so was I, because when I read this story about the guy, he's a young guy. There's a picture of him with his kid. So he's a young guy. So for whatever reason, I thought maybe this guy would do something for Bubba. I don't know if, you know, making fun of him just didn't sit well with him, but his own friends had like a running bet to how long, they had a bet to when he was gonna lose his hand, and crazy stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know, but this guy went through hell and back, it sounds like, and he keeps, you know, prevailing, and I give it to this guy. You know, he did something a lot of people can't do. Here I am bitching and moaning about my leg, and you know, I'm going to be fine. I've got my hands. You don't even realize how hard it is. This guy was reading, and this guy, I was not reading, he was writing with his stumps and stuff within like hours of like this happening. I mean, it's like crazy stuff that you don't ever see. He says he couldn't wait for them to cut it off. He had divorced it already from himself. Like he was ready to have them cut off the one hand. You know? And they had an electric wheelchair, and his left foot was crazy looking, and I mean, just in your body, just, you know, things start falling off when they blacken and they get crazy. They just fall off you. So Johnny Hand Transplant, I hand it to you for going through hell and back, but I wish you would, you know, maybe would have understood more of where Bubba was coming from. I don't know. I was hoping that this guy would, you know, be there for Bubba or do something for Bubba. But it just didn't happen. And I don't know. But the story of Johnny Hand Transplant, JHT, yeah, you know me. Go look it up. Read it for yourself. And just, you know, say you're lucky. You know, say your prayers and to the stars above and everything else, that you don't have to go through something like this guy had to go through. Even though he's, you know, rich beyond belief. And it's just like money doesn't mean anything, but I don't know. For some reason, I just thought this guy was going to get back to Bubba and Manson and Ned and 25 and just be there to support them. And I don't know. It just surprises me that he didn't even get back to them. So, if that's true, who knows? Anyhow, everybody have a good day. Take care. And you're a reality TV guy? You should get Bubba started. Anybody ever see that WGN broadcast? Nope. I did. I saw one of them. I was there live, and it was good stuff. JHT. Come on. Let's part with a few of those dollars and send them to the boys. Tampa Bay ain't that far away.